the internet is powered by fiber. It's nothing like those days. Connections without delays or interruptions. Quite unlike those days. The pinnacle of picture quality. An ultra-fast superpower. It's nothing quite like those days. Sri Lanka's first, fastest and widest premium fiber network. SLT Mobitel Fiber, the fiber of the nation.
Imagine a technology partner invested in your dreams, where we take the time to understand your aspirations and give you the opportunity to transform them into reality through disruptive innovation. We are ICIIT Digital Labs. We are a team of IT professionals, data scientists, cloud solutions specialists, creative design engineers, spanning 7 global offices. We are enriching the lives of over 500 million people. We have successfully delivered projects globally, specializing in digital telco solutions, mobile money, fintech, IoT, AI, machine learning, data analytics, and self-care solutions. Using our expertise and domain knowledge, we have helped challenge the norms of industries and rewrite the rules of engagement. We provide our customers with agility. We provide them future-ready products now. ICIIT Digital Labs, advancing digital life.
The world is changing rapidly in front of our eyes. While new technologies are being built, tons of data is created every second. Industry needs are changing and businesses need to innovate ever so fast. Are you equipped to face the transformations taking place around you? We can help you achieve it. That is what inspires us. This is Limark Technologies, where a talented and experienced pool of software architects, engineers and data scientists have come together to produce world-class software solutions. We are a global technology company specializing in product engineering, data analytics, DevOps, quality engineering, ICIIT and cloud frameworks, and our unique service model of CTO Office as a Service. Limark Technologies, for a mark of excellence.
And I hope you all enjoyed your lunch and back here with happy tummies. So let's get on with our second technical session. To conduct this session, to chair this session, I would like to invite Mr. Austin Mascarenhas, Head of Department, Business School of IIT.
So good afternoon, everyone. So in line with the theme of our conference, which is about unlocking digital potential, we have lined up a few papers which we actually, are very good examples of how digital technology can be used to impact society. And not only just society, but emerging technology, emerging regions like Sri Lanka and other parts of the world. So the first one in this lineup is a project called REM Addict. It's a very interesting project which solves a very important problem that we have in current Sri Lankan society, which is drug addiction. So it's presented by Avisha Dimel. I will call her over to tell you more about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Avisha Dimel, and I'm here to present my project Remedict, which is a solution to aid adolescents challenged with substance use disorder in Sri Lanka. So, as you may know, the highlight of today's news is drug addiction, especially amongst the youth in Sri Lanka. And as you can see, according to the statistics of the NDDCB, in 2020, there have been over 97,000 people who have been addicted to heroin alone across the country. And recent research has also proven how drugs such as meth and heroin have also been found as common usage. And additionally, it is also stated that 16% of adolescents have used at least one illegal substance during their lifetime, particularly including drugs. So moving on to the main problem that was identified, which was the increasing rates of drug addiction amongst the youth in Sri Lanka, there have been 4 sub-problems that were identified to support this main problem. The first one, which is relapsing due to painful withdrawal symptoms. So usually when a user stays without drugs, as in like they stay for a period without drugs, that period is called abstinence. And they may be resulted to facing various symptoms that may be harmful, such as nausea, shivering, fever, etc. And so this is actually one of the main reasons they keep going to drugs, because they can't deal with such painful withdrawal symptoms. And the second one is negligence of identifying the issue at a young age. Research has proven how the younger you are when you start consuming drugs, the harder it is to actually overcome. So they usually stay away from drugs due to things like social stigma, and also they don't know how important it may be to actually overcome this issue. So because of that, they usually get neglected. And in taking drugs to overcome issues, so especially when it comes to the youth, some of the main problems for intaking drugs are stress and peer pressure, and also depression, loneliness, family problems, etc. And also inability to seek assistance for recovery, which is one of the main issues, because I think in Sri Lanka, according to the research I conducted, I found that most institutions or resources to get better are actually located in Colombo, which and where people in rural areas actually have very limited resources. So considering all those issues, the main aim of the project was developed, which was to analyze and identify the factors contributing to the increasing rates of drug addiction amongst the youth in Sri Lanka, and to design, develop, and evaluate an application that could act as a withdrawal symptom predictor, an awareness center, and a maintenance tool, which could also help connect these users with professionals in the field. So the main target age group of this application was 18 to 30. And this shows how I actually collected data for my research, mainly through background reading and interviews through industry professionals such as counselors and psychiatrists, And also prototyping, where once a prototype was developed, it was presented to IT professionals and domain experts to get their feedback. And also a questionnaire was distributed to the deceased and also to their loved ones. So this actually exaggerates the main solution features. And as you can see, the ones highlighted in purple are for the users, and the ones highlighted in blue were for the medical professionals. So the medical professionals had the features of storing client data because that was a requirement that they needed when I conducted my research, and also to take notes and check appointments, whereas the user features were the progress tracker. The progress tracker had two main parts. One was the goal tracker and the other one was the sober tracker to keep them motivated. The goal tracker enabled them to actually select what kind of goals they could set, and with the help of a medical professional, and work on them. And also the sober tracker kept them motivated to stay sober. And the knowledge hub was actually a feature that was common to both the user and the medical professional, where they can access knowledge resources related to the condition all in one place, and find help for them to seek therapy nearby so that they could actually go to them. And the withdrawal symptom predictor, which was the main feature of this application, actually predicted the withdrawal symptoms to keep the user prepared to face these symptoms. And this predictor was developed using machine learning, and also online therapy for them to actually conduct online therapy and connect with doctors online. So these are the main technologies that were used, mainly Android Studio, Java, Firebase, machine learning, which was the recommendation model, and Google APIs to locate the doctors. And this gives an overall view of the solution. And if you take from a business perspective, the main two ways this was actually catering from a business perspective was partnering up with institutions and hospitals, and also the milestone rewards feature, which was offered as an opportunity for businesses to sell their products. So the milestone rewards feature is, I think, as I mentioned before, there's a feature for them to actually track their goals. Once a certain goal is reached, the user will be entitled to a reward. And this reward is not like a badge or some title they get, but an actual medical reward which might be helpful for them. And these are the three main users: the clients, system admin, and medical professionals. And as I stated before, this was the problem that was identified, and the features were divided into two main portals. One was the medical professional and the other one was the client. So taking a look at the uniqueness of the application, it mainly lies in its features. So the withdrawal symptom predictor with follow-through support. So far, according to the research that has been conducted, there has been no app that has ever been developed to predict withdrawal symptoms related to drug addiction. And also doctors get to store client details in one place. Most software don't provide this facility because they fail to see how vital it may be from a doctor's perspective. And rewards for milestones. This application gives real benefits to keep the user even more motivated. And online therapy and reaching out to nearby medical support, because in Sri Lanka there has been no application that has been developed to actually cater to this domain. And lastly, the knowledge hub to access resources related to substance use disorder in one place. So a few takeaways from this project is this is an accessible e-health solution to help youngsters combat with substance use disorder, and it is an interactive tool to maintain sobriety and predict withdrawal symptoms, and it's a first of a kind of its application with a wide scope for expansion and enhancement. Thank you. don't have it now.
No, just I'm asking, is it working? Did you try it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an application.
Mobile app, right? So I think now this is a product development. So this kind of presentation, if you can, at least show how it works and all, it would be much better. Right now, here what we saw is the you describe the your product and the architecture behind that product, right? Can you go to the slide where you had that solution? You have a slide called solution. Okay, that's the one. Now I'm other things might be okay, right? But what is that business perspective? What does it mean for you?
Yeah, so if you take this project, it might be a little inclined to the social perspective. So this is how the the application will actually cater from a business point of view.
No, I think what you mentioned is that if someone using this one to recover, what the name, what the term you are using?
Withdrawals.
Withdrawals, right? So if they have achieved some some level, they will be rewarded, right?
Yeah, if they stay away from.
Right. So actually, you are rewarding them. That is not business for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you are running this app, what is the motivation behind your effort?
Yeah, so business as in for the business, it might be a plus point because they get to sell their product.
Actually, the business perspective here, what I feel is it should be now to make this app and to make that app run, you have to have some income, right? You have to have some income. So how you are going to earn money? That is the question. I think the business perspective should address that part. Otherwise, this is a community service. That's all, right? Actually, you have to have a staff, right, to run this application. So I feel this business perspective should be how you are going to earn money, the revenue model for you.
Yeah, so the initial idea was to, I don't have a model, but to actually sell the application to various institutes.
Then after selling all the institutes, you don't have any money. Isn't it? After you sell to all the customers or the clients, then you get something. Then how to run another business? So there is no ongoing income, right?
I think you better this way there might be some businesses, but at least that to make the people withdraw, there might be some medicine, right? So you can use your app to advertise those medicines, and you can get some money from the people who are selling. I feel every time I don't know what is the expectation when you do this particular product. But from business perspective, I believe that it should be the revenue model.
Thank you.
So thank you for that presentation. So let's move on to the next author. It is Chaitana Galage. So now when we get on to this new world of digital technologies being used in business, unless we do it the right way and achieve excellence, we will not be able to be winners. And that this paper is on this topic. Over to you.
Very good afternoon for everyone. So I'm Chaitana and I'm here to present about my study on the influence of online shopping experience and attitudinal loyalty on online impulsive buying in the online Sri Lankan fashion retail industry. So if we take a look at the background of this study, so over time with this digitalization and the rise of information and communication technologies, this has actually impacted on people's behaviors in various ways. The consumer behaviors included. this has actually led to the expansion and the growth of and the increasing popularity of e-commerce. So as we can see in 2021, the global e-commerce retail industry amounted to approximately 5.2 trillion US dollars and is expected to further rise to 8.1 trillion US dollars by 2026. And also in the Sri Lankan point of view, the Sri Lankan user penetration for e-commerce is actually expected to hit 38.2% by the end of 2023. And two of the industries which predominate in Sri Lanka in e-commerce is the fashion and the electronics industries. So if you take a look at the research gap, so there have been numerous studies which have actually focused on online shopping experiences. However, a very few have actually focused on the functional and the psychological aspects of online shopping experience. Moreover, there have not been paid much attention to the attitudinal and also the impulsiveness of impulsive buying behaviors. Nevertheless, if we take in the Sri Lankan point of view, in Sri Lanka, there exists no research which actually focus on the online shopping experience and attitudinal loyalty on online impulsive buying in the online fashion retail industries. So if we take a look at our research scope, so actually the scope is focused on online customer shopping experiences and is on online fashion retail industry, fashion retail brands in Sri Lanka. So these are the research questions which I will be addressing in this study, and these are the objectives which I hope to achieve. In this study I have used 4 models, and as you can see I have used the theory of planned behavior, technological acceptance model, unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, and the stimulus organism model. So moving on to the conceptual framework. So this is a conceptual framework, and as you can see the independent variable is online shopping experience, mediate is attitudinal loyalty, and the dependent is online impulsive buying. Moving on to hypothesis. So I have developed 4 hypotheses. First is that online shopping experience has a significant positive impact on online impulsive buying. Second is online shopping experience has a significant positive impact on attitudinal loyalty. Third is attitudinal loyalty has a significant positive impact on online impulsive buying. And fourth is that attitudinal loyalty successfully mediates the relationship between online shopping experience and online impulsive buying. As you can see, these are theories and the justifications used to develop these hypotheses. Moving on to operationalization table. So this is the operationalization table. As you can see, this is the independent variable, the mediator, and the dependent variable. Moving on to the methodology section. So this is my research onion, and the research philosophy is positivism. The approach is deductive. A survey was used to collect data, and the mono method was actually utilized. So my research is actually a quantitative study, and also cross-sectional was used. So moving on to the research strategy, the sampling technique. So I have used simple random sampling. And the reason why I used simple random sampling was because its ability to create a representative sample of my target population, and also due to its unbiasedness. And moving on to the sample size was 397 participants, and out of which 242 valid responses were collected. The response rate is 61%, which is accepted. So the research instrument was a survey questionnaire, and it consisted of 3 questions, the screening questions, the demographic, and the variable-based questions. And moving on to the data analysis. So the SPS, so data was collected through this questionnaire and was tested using SPSS software, where various tests has been run in order to analyze the data set. So this is the pilot study. So the pilot study was based on 30 responses, and since the value is Cronbach value is greater than 0.7, which is the threshold value, the instrument is said to be accepted. So moving on to data analysis. So this, so over here we see an overlook of the data screening, and as you can see, there was no missing values. Moving on to normality of the normality test. So to assess normality, the KS test and the Shapiro test were actually utilized, and the p-values of these tests were actually greater than the 0.05. Therefore, the distribution was declared to be normal. And so when it comes to multi-collinearity test, so multi-collinearity was actually tested, and there exists multi-collinearity did not exist, which means that there's high intercorrelation between the variables. So moving on to the reliability analysis. So over here, as you can see, reliability was separately conducted for each variable: the online shopping experience, attitudinal loyalty, and online impulsive buying. And the Cronbach values, as you can see, are greater than the threshold of 0.7. Therefore, it is accepted. So moving on to sample adequacy. So sample adequacy was measured to the Kaiser, Mayer, Olkins test, and also Butler's test. And as you can see, the sample was declared to be adequate. So moving on to validity. So validity was actually tested using convergent validity, construct validity, and discriminant validity. And as you can see, it was found out that these validities exist. So moving on to the hypothesis testing. So the first hypothesis was accepted, and it was empirically supported. So the managerial implications of this for this is that positive online shopping experiences would actually result in online impulsive buying. So thereby, the use of the design of the website to suit user friendliness, and then personalization and offers would actually help to stimulate the impulsive buying tendencies of customers. The second hypothesis was also accepted and empirically supported, and the managerial implications is that the online shopping experiences should be positive, and this could be done to increasing the user friendliness, personalization, then having loyalty programs on also good customer services, which would help to drive attitudinal loyalty. The third hypothesis was also accepted and empirically supported, and the managerial implications is that managers and online shopping retailers actually here can focus on leveraging positive relationships with their customers in order to increase the customer satisfaction, and which would actually result in online impulsive buying tendencies of customers. The fourth hypothesis was also accepted and empirically supported, and thereby the managerial implications are that by providing a positive online shopping experience through personalization, excellent service and also loyalty programs, attitudinal loyalty would increase, and this would result in customers' trust and customer satisfaction, which would again increase the impulsive buying tendencies of customers. So the findings of this study is, so here we are going to look at findings of the study, and attitudinal loyalty was found to have the highest contribution on the dependent variable of online impulsive buyingness. So this has been empirically supported, and the managerial implications are that by creating a loyal customer base where there is high customer satisfaction towards the brand and high trust through loyalty services and then emotional attachment to the brand, that way we can see that yes, the findings have tallied. And also moving on to online, the next finding, online impulsive buying significantly predicts attitudinal loyalty and online shopping experience by 34.9 variance, and this was also empirically supported. And so managers and customers can actually look forward to build a more user-friendly website where the customers would actually find it easy to navigate, and also this would also provide enough other excellent service programs. They can actually help to enhance this attitudinal loyalty, which would actually result in influencing the customer behavior, such as impulsive buyings. And the next finding is the factors which contribute more for attitudinal loyalty are loyalty to service, emotional attachment, and customer preferences. So these also have been empirically supported. So managers and online fashion retail brands should actually focus more on these aspects. These would actually help to cultivate attitudinal loyalty amongst the target audience, which would result in building a loyal customer base which is highly satisfied about the brand, which would result in attitudinal loyalty and also lead to online impulsive buying. And next is so moving on to the next finding. So Levin's test was actually conducted, and the value was 0.041, which is less than the threshold value of 0.0. Thereby, equal variances between men and women on online shopping is not assumed. So this is also empirically supported, and so the managerial implication is that the managers and the online fashion retailers should identify this difference accurately, and they should use these statistics to create strategies which would be appealing for the genders and make it more personalized for those customers, so that excellent customer services would be provided. And also they know that as for these findings, that women are having more impulsive buying tendencies. So therefore having more attention for them would actually be an advantage for managers and online retailers. So moving on to the other findings, the demographic analysis. And so the trust evaluations was actually conducted, and as you can see, the most respondents were found that they spend an online time of 1 to 3 hours a day, and most respondents were between the age of 18 to 25, and also the most respondents were said to have the monthly income of 25,000 to 50,000. So this was also empirically supported by previous researchers, and the managerial implication is that the managers and the online fashion retailers should identify this characteristics of their target audience and cater to their needs. So for instance, so they can actually publish more content on times which was identified where they have the highest engagement. So this would actually help them to reach more audience. Then also when it comes to the income levels, if you take that data, so they can actually promote more of those products where a person within this income capability has the potential to buy these products. So that way they can provide promotional and personalized promotions on their websites to targeting this audience. And moving on to the conclusion, so the objective 1, 2 and 3 was actually those objectives have been successfully achieved. This is because a significant impact was identified, and also the positive correlation was also identified through various tests. And also the objective 4 has also been successfully achieved. This is because through Sobel's test it was disclosed that attitudinal loyalty has a significant positive impact on online shopping experience and online shopping experience and online impulsive buying. So if you take a look at the limitations of this study, so we have through regression analysis, and we have actually found the impact of attitudinal loyalty and online shopping experience on impulsive buying. However, we should not forget that there are other factors which actually which may affect the online impulsive buying, such as the customer situation, the marketing tactics of retailers and all. And moving on, furthermore, the study was based on a qualitative research. However, this qualitative research means that it's focused on more on a sample, and that it does not represent the entire target population. And moving on, also the study utilized simple random sampling technique, and most of the respondents were from the Colombo district. So they can actually, so this is also another limitation of the study. And moving on to the key SPSS outputs. So these are the demographic factors based on which the previous findings were concluded. And yes, this is the correlation. As you can see, all the relationships had a p-value of 0.000, which means that they are statistically significant. And also the strength of the relationships were declared to be high. And here's an overview of the regression analysis. And yes, and then finally this is the mediate analysis, the Sobel's test, which was declared to find the fourth hypothesis. And yes, that concludes my presentation.
We would like to have some comment from the judges, please.
Right, actually good presentation, and you have done a good job. As a beginner, I think you have done a good job. anyway, we have some concerns, not to discourage you, actually, just to clarify and have a kind of a dialogue here. We normally, discuss certain things. Without taking much time, since we are having a problem of time, I'll confine myself to only one or two comments. Actually, without talking about many things, actually, I would like to talk about the sampling technique that we have used. There are many things. I think you have done your research. I think it's a kind of a basic research, because you have identified a knowledge gap. And I think when you're identifying the knowledge gap, somewhere you said that there is no literature. You can't say there is no literature. Yes, you can say there is lack of literature, or dearth of whatever, some sort of a word like that. So that is important. You don't say no literature, because sometimes you might not have actually found out it. And the other thing is, the second one is about the sampling technique. Actually, you said that you have used simple random sampling technique. Actually, when it comes to sampling theory, there are two types of basic probability and non-probability. When it comes to probability sampling technique, you can take simple random sampling technique. But here I have not seen that you are talking about the population and sample frame. Those things have not been discussed properly. Therefore, I have a doubt whether you have used simple random sampling technique or some other non-probability sampling technique. Therefore, you need to be very careful there, because it's a simple word, but you need to be very careful about that, because it has a totally different meaning.
Yeah.
Remember that. Therefore, you need to be very careful on that. From my side, that's enough, right? Thank you.
Only one question. Can you go to your model?
Yeah, sure. You want the conceptual frame?
Yeah, conceptual framework. Yeah, since you are a very young researcher, now you see here, under the functionality components, there are 4 variables. And then you might have had, how many numbers of questions you had for interactivity?
So under interactivity, I had around 3 questions
Three
in the
questions.
questionnaire.
Yeah, so altogether around 12 questions, right? Now, but when you do your analysis, you have taken functionality as one component,
Yes.
right? Now, why you are going for this detail? If you want to consider it as one variable,
Because these all are like they come under functionality. That's
right? Actually, the purpose here is, then only if you do those analysis, the interactivity to resistant to switch, something like that. If you relate like that, then only you can get more information from your study. Now, what has happened is, now, for example, attitudinal loyalty, you have 4 variables. That means you are going into detail, but when you collect the data, you have gone into detail. But the analysis just summated everything together. So you can't get the real information from the context wherever you are doing your study. So as a young lecturer, it's okay. I mean, young researcher, this is okay. But don't practice this one when you go to the next level, right? Because there are 2 reasons. One is, now the reason why we are doing research is to actually analyze the context, right? So if you don't do like this, I mean, if you do like this, then you can't get detailed analysis of the context, right? The second reason for doing research is for publication, right? There is a high chance, if you send this paper for a good journal, they will reject. The reason is, you have done very good job. Your analysis is good and your knowledge, everything is good. But because of this reason, because we can get only abstract knowledge. We can't get detailed knowledge by doing practicing this kind of this one, right? Good job.
Yeah. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yes, before we move on to our next research papers done by my fellow wonderful senior brothers and sisters, I would like to remind you all about the raffle draw, which is due on at the end of today's program. So the prizes are: the first place will receive a tablet PC, and the second place will receive a dinner voucher for 2, and the third place will receive a high tea voucher for 2. Yeah, just want to remind you that, and I hope you all have placed your business cards at the bowl in the morning. So yeah, over to you, Austin.
So our next paper is on the topic of the impact of social media communication and brand equity, which is presented by Ashwika Vasantakumar. Yeah.
So, hi, good afternoon everyone. Today I'll be taking you all through my research presentation on the topic of the impact of social media communication and brand equity on consumer perceptions of brands in the fast food industry in the context of Colombo, Sri Lanka. So moving on to my research background. According to Chadwick, the evolution of social media has a significant impact on users and brands. It plays an important role in understanding how consumers pursue a brand and how business understands that to influence the consumer purchase intention. So moving on to my research gap. So several researches have been carried out to understand the impact of customer purchase intention against several independent variables that include word of mouth, brand equity, and social media communication. According to Ershad and Ajani stated that limited researches are found in related to the fast food industry in the context of brand equity, acting as an indirect factor in accessing the decision-making process directly influenced by social media content. So moving on to my scope of the study. According to Department of Census and Statistics Sri Lanka, 2/5 of the Sri Lankan population are using Facebook, and it is widely used site by companies to promote and communicate with their consumers. So the scope of the study is limited to choice of social media, which is Facebook, and the influence of it on the brand McDonald's as a representation of the brand influence leading to consumer purchase intention. Further, the chosen brand McDonald's is one of the leading fast food industry in Sri Lanka, which uses Facebook as the main medium of its communication. So moving on to my research questions. So I have 4 research questions and 4 research objectives. So I have used a few theories here. Arkers and brand equity and Keller's and brand equity model are used for the brand equity variable, and the theory of recent action and the theory of planned behavior and the theory of technology acceptance models was used to represent the consumer purchase intention variable, and the other 2 theories were used to represent the social media communication variable. So this is my conceptual framework. Social media communication and brand equity are my independent variables. So brand equity is my mediating variable. So my dependent variable is consumer purchase intention. So this is my hypothesis development. I have 4 hypotheses, and these are the frameworks and theories that I have used, and these are my supporting articles. And this is my operationalization variable table. So the research methodology was developed using a onion method. So moving on to a sampling strategy. The simple random sampling method was used. This method was chosen because it helps to prevent biased results and it is easier to administer the results. This method was also helps to use the researcher to draw conclusions for a generalized group. In terms of sample size, the data collection was targeted from the Colombo district to ensure brand familiarity, and also a pilot study was conducted with 25 participants. The questionnaire was thereafter distributed among 400 participants, aiming to at least reach 260 responses. So 244 usable responses were obtained. So a questionnaire was distributed with 3 main sections. Using 5-point Likert scale ranging was also used to generate data for variables. So moving on to my pilot study. So the main objective is to gather information from individuals aged 18 and above residing the Colombo district. A preliminary investigation was conducted with a sample of 25 participants. So moving on to my data analysis. During the data screening process, missing values were detected in the data set and subsequently removed. Assessment of normality. To verify that the data is distributed normally, kurtosis and skewnosis are used. The data collected on all 3 variables seem to be evenly distributed. And also Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and Shapiro-Wilk tests were carried out to understand the normality of data. The p-value was more than 0.05 and hence the data distribution can be considered as normally distributed. Moving on to multicollinearity test. According to Shrestha, when independent variables exhibit high intercorrelations, it suggests the presence of multicollinearity. However, Senaviratne and Kure found that the variance inflation factor was less than 5 and the tolerance value were greater than 0.2, indicating the absence of multicollinearity. And moving on to my reliability test. So the assessment of the research instrument's reliability involves analyzing the Cronbach alpha value, which is 0.794. This surfaces the threshold of 0.7 as noted by Mishra et al. And Tavakol and Denik, indicating that the research instrument is indeed reliable. Moving on to my sample adequacy. So this analysis was conducted, as you can see from the table. The sample is adequate. According to Bartlett test of sparsity is highly significant since the p-value is less than 0.05. Further, this concludes that the sample size is adequate. As mentioned here, I have done construct validity, convergent validity and discriminant validity. So these tests were tested. Moving on to my correlation. The Pearson correlation analysis was used to identify the significant relationship between the independent and dependent variables. The Pearson correlation between social media communication and brand equity is 0.468. This shows a positive correlation. The Pearson correlation between brand equity and customer purchase intent is 0.612. This shows a moderate but positive correlation. The Pearson correlation between customer purchase intention and social media communication is 0.457. The relationship between the independent and dependent variable is shown by the p-value. Since the p-value is less than 0.05, social media communication has a statistical significant relationship between brand equity. Since the p-value is less than 0.05, brand equity has a statistical significant relationship with customer purchase intention. Further, since p-value is less than 0.05, social media has a statistically significant relationship with customer purchase intention. This concludes that there is a positive relationship between the chosen variables. In terms of descriptive statistics, the responses of the main variables of the studies were collected by using a 5-point Likert scale ranging from 1 to 5. In the regression analysis conducted, the R2 value is 0.412 and the adjusted R2 value is 0.407. This determines that 41% variation of the dependent variable and customer purchase intention can be explained by the independent variables and brand equity. However, the obtained value is considered to be weak impact according to Hai et al. Moving on to the independent sample t-test. The following test determines the relationship between gender and customer purchase intentions. Since the significance level for Levin's test is 0.015, which is below 0.05, we can conclude that there is no assumption of equal variances between the male and female groups. Crosstab test also was conducted to analyze the relationship between gender and the income. Hence, there is a relationship between gender and the income obtained from the real-time data impacting the customer purchase intention. So this is my mediate analysis. The Sobel test for social media communication and as an independent variable to customer purchase intention as a dependent variable and brand equity as a mediator. So there is an indirect effect analysis for the variable shown above using the test concludes that the p-value is less than or equal to 0.05, which means there is a satisfactory mediating relationship. Exploratory factor analysis was also conducted for each variable. And these are my hypothesis testing, and it was achieved. And moving on to the conclusion. So the obtained results indicating the brand equity has a predictable variable in customer purchase intention. So both regress data and the correlation indicates a moderate positive strength relationship. This is similar to the results obtained, and also the regression analysis was revealed for social media communication, brand equity and customer purchase intention. And also the Pearson correlation coefficient value is 0.468. So this provides evidence of positive medium strength relationship between brand equity and social media communication. The Pearson correlation value for brand equity and customer price index is 0.612, and the Pearson correlation coefficient value of 0.457 indicates a positive medium strength relationship between consumer price index and social media communication. So the results indicated that there is no relationship between gender difference and customer purchase intention, but the gender and income impacts the customer purchase intention from obtained real-time data. Brand equity mediates the relationship between social media communication and customer purchase intention. So there is a mediating effect and it was confirmed by Sobel test, which had a p-value less than 0.05, indicating that there is an indirect effect of the brand equity on social media communication leading to customer purchase intention. And also there is a significant difference in customer purchase intention between male and female respondents, and this was not supported by the results obtained. As a recommendation, it is observed that the organization in the fast food industry are highly recommended to adapt and communicate via social media platforms, which helps them to reach a wider range of audiences effectively, which influences the customer purchase intention positively. And also marketers must recognize the potential of brand awareness as a crucial determinant of consumer response. Firms should also focus on implementing positive brand association practices such as enhancing brand strength and brand description to positively influence the customer response. So as a recommendation for future research, in support to above findings and testings proved, it is observed that organizations in the fast food industry are highly recommended to adopt and communicate via social media platforms, which helps them to reach a wider range of audiences effectively, which influences the customer purchase intention positively. Together with the social media communication, the organization needs to focus on brand equity by developing brand awareness, brand loyalty, and brand association, which leads to enhancing a wealthier brand personality and image. This development of brand equity would also impact the customer purchase intention positively. Thank you.
Thank you, what's your name? Ashwika, for your presentation. Actually, you have done a very good analysis, a systematic way of doing a research. But I have a couple of questions. What your conceptual framework? Quick, you have so many analyses. Right here. So what is your mediator here?
Brand equity.
So why these two types of arrows, dash 1 and
Social
What?
media communication and customer purchase intention
directly?
impacts the
Yes, that of course we can understand. The brand equity, what is two types of arrows? What do you mean by? Is it a mistake?
I think so.
Ah, okay. That's okay, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Not four, actually five.
Four.
You have a moderator as well.
Yeah, crossed out test.
Yes, no, actually that's my next question. So the mediator is hypothesis is there, right?
Yeah.
So you have done a t-test
Yeah.
for the moderator. So where's that hypothesis?
Yeah.
It is not in the model and not even with the hypothesis.
Yeah.
But you have,
Actually, I had the hypothesis and I removed it.
sorry,
Actually, I had the 5 hypotheses and then I removed it.
remove.
Yeah.
Why? So if you remove the fifth hypothesis, then of course you have to remove the analysis as well. Now the cross-tab t-test, right?
Yeah.
And what is the number question that you discussed? Reliability. Go to the reliability. Yeah, here. Yes, here. Now, what is this pilot study Cronbach alpha value?
Yeah.
Yes, what is that?
So before distributing the questionnaire,
Of course.
I did a pilot. I did a
Yep, you did a pilot
Yeah.
study of 25 or 30.
25.
Okay, then what are those 3 variables? Those are your variables, right? And what is this whole research instrument Cronbach alpha value? No, what is the I'm asking, just asking, what is the purpose of doing the pilot study or the whole research instrument reliability by taking all variables together? What is the purpose of doing the reliability analysis? Yes, what is the purpose?
The purpose is to analyze the variables.
To?
Analyze the different variables.
Yes, whether it has each variable has an internal consistency, right? That your measurements under the example brand equity is it, are those measurements are really measuring the brand equity? If it is, if one measurement or two measurements are not measuring, that means your Cronbach alpha value will be less than 0.7. So then you are going to remove that specific measurement and see whether the Cronbach value will be increased. Yes. Yes. To Cronbach alpha. Yes. Right? Yes. Some says even 0.6 is okay.
Some people say 0.5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll mention that.
Okay. And there is no such, actually you can take whole variables together and you can do a test, right? But you can't interpret it. That is meaningless, right? That is why we are taking one variable at a time and check the Cronbach value. Okay? Otherwise there is no purpose. You can't interpret it.
Thank you.
So we come to the last of our paper presentations by Hansini Somaratna on the influence of social media marketing, again on digital technologies and how they are being used in business. So over to you.
Is this one? Yeah.
Social media communication. Here they are using social media marketing. Are there difference between those two things or same? Social media marketing and social media communication. You are referring to the same thing or something different? Okay. Is it possible to tell me what is the difference?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'll be talking about influence of social media marketing using Instagram and consumer trust on consumer purchase intentions in the skincare industry in Colombo district in Sri Lanka. Background: the personal care segment of Sri Lankan skincare segment has witnessed a substantial expansion in the recent times, with estimated revenue of $92.69 million expected by 2027. To capitalize on this growth, marketers in this sector are now using social media marketing platforms to reach and engage with customers in new ways. As a result, the research gap: the social media marketing and consumer trust have received relatively little attention in the skincare in the Sri Lankan, and previous studies have mostly concentrated on other industries. The scope of this study is skincare industry. These are the research questions. These are the research objectives. Theories: social exchange theory. People choose their social patterns depending on the perceived advantage and disadvantage of the connection. Social learning theory. According to this theory, people pick up knowledge by watching how other people behave and the result of their activity. Social media marketing campaigns that feature good reviews and endorsements from customers can influence how effectively the products are perceived by the public, increasing purchase intentions. Social influence theory. Consumers are more likely to buy a product in the context of social media marketing if they believe that it is well liked by other people in the social network. The theory of reason action. According to this paradigm, a consumer's intention to make a purchase are influenced by their values and about their goods and services. While consumer trust can affect subjective norms, social media marketing can affect attitudes towards skincare products. Conceptual framework. Independent variable is social media marketing. Dependent variable is consumer purchase intentions. Mediator variable is consumer trust. Research philosophy. This study research philosophy is positivism. Research approaches, the deductive technique is used in this study. Research method. A quantitative research method that employs quantitative research procedures influenced by the positivistic paradigm to test the identified associations. Sampling strategy. Simple sampling strategy was chosen as the sampling strategy as it reduced bias and it is used. Sample size. The purpose of this study is to collect data from people over the age of 18 who lives in Sri Lanka. A pilot study of 30 participants was carried out. The question was distributed to 400 people with 252 viable replies and 148 were removed. The response rate was 63%, which was concerned adequate. The main city in Sri Lanka, Colombo, has a diversified population that comes from different socio-economical, cultural and rational background. A number of well-known supermarkets including Kiehl's, Glowmark, as well as number of retail centers including Colombo City Centre and Liberty Plaza. The research instrument development. The research instrument was used to collect data. Social media marketing was operationalized using the items by using a 5-point Likert scale ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Consumer trust was operationalized using 2 items applied using 5-point likely scale ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Consumer purchase intention was operationalized using 7 items based on the measures used by 5-point Likert scale ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. The research instrument considered of screening questions and demographic profile and primary factors. Data analysis. Normality of the data. This discusses the primary characteristics of the normality test, focusing on skewness and kurtosis. Skewness, a proportion of an informational collection's evenness, is assumed normal when value ranges from -1 to +1. Found that the data distribution is normal with kurtosis values between -3 and +3, indicating a normal distribution. Investigating missing values in dataset through screening, removing them. This data distribution is normal because all kurtosis values fall within this range. The histogram showed a bell curve and the data distribution was linear. The p-plots showed that the information dispersion was direct and nearer to the line of anomalies were absent. The histogram graph shows a bend. It was ordered to affirm the information the justification of the research instrument. The research instrument was assessed for reliability and validity. Reliability is assessed to ascertain whether the same results will be achieved if the same instrument is used multiple times. Validity is assessed to ascertain whether a method accurately measures what is supposed to measure. Reliability analysis. Reliability test ensures reliable results with the values below 0.60, concern poor within 0.70 to 0.80 acceptable, and the above 0.80 exceptional. Table displays Cronchbars alpha value for 3 measures scales indicating question was reliable. Sample advocacy test. Camus and Barter's test values above 0.5 indicating validated instruments with a 95% confidence level indicating sufficient sample size. Construct validity. Construct validity of pilot study exceeded Cronchbars alpha with 30 respondents analyzed. Discriminant validity test reveal huge relationship between free factors and dependent variables indicating discriminant validity, but eigenvalue value is less than 1. Convergent validity. Campbell and Fiske's inter-item correlation ensures convergent validity as all main variables meet criteria forming 3 main factors. Regression analysis. R-square value are used to examine the significance of the key variables using regression analysis. According to the table, R-square value social media marketing and trust predicts consumer purchase intention 1.8% of the time. The ANOVA table reveals that the p-value is less than 0.05. Hence, trust and social media marketing have significant relationship with consumer intention to buy. The trust makes the larger contribution to the dependent variable. The coefficients, the correlation analysis. The significance of the relationship that exists between the primary variables was discovered through correlation analysis. Both purchase intention and trust, as well as purchase intention and social media marketing, have a weak positive person correlation. Since p-value is 0.00, there is a statistically significant relationship between social media marketing and trust. Since p-value is less than 0.05, there is a positive relation between trust and consumer purchase intention. Since p-value is less than 0.05, there is a positive relationship between social media marketing and consumer purchase intentions. Mediator analysis. The regression results between trust and social media marketing are shown in the table. And to determine the mediator relationship between social media marketing, the mediator analysis, regression analysis between the independent variable, mediator and dependent variable is also shown in the table. The Sobel test. The Sobel test is used to determine whether a mediator variable significantly carries the influence of an independent variable to a dependent variable. The Sobel's test output shows that the p-value is slightly greater than 0.05. Hence, the trust does not mediate the relationship between social media marketing and consumer purchase intention. Hypothesis test. There is a strong positive relationship of social media marketing on consumer purchase intention based on the coefficient table. The p-value is greater than 0.05. Hence, this hypothesis is rejected. The correlation analysis also reveals that social media marketing does not have a direct relationship with consumer purchase intention. Hence, this hypothesis is rejected. The hypothesis 2, there is a strong positive relationship between social media marketing and consumer trust. The correlation analysis reveals that there is a positive relationship between social media marketing and trust, hence the p-value is statistically significant. The regression analysis shows that the p-value is significant and hence this hypothesis is accepted. Hypothesis 3, there is a strong positive relationship between consumer trust and consumer purchase intention. Based on the correlation analysis, trust and consumer purchase intention have a positive relationship since the p-value is significant since it's less than 0.05. However, based on the coefficient table, the p-value is greater than 0.05. Hence, this hypothesis is rejected. Hypothesis 4, the consumer trust mediates the relationship between social media marketing and consumer purchase intention. Based on Sobel test, trust does not mediate the relationship between social media marketing and consumer purchase intention. The hypothesis is rejected. The recommendation: to enhance trust, companies should prioritize transparency using providing accurate information about products, pricing and promotions, and being open and honest fosters a sense of credibility and honesty with customers. High quality customer service and responsive communication with customers are essential in building trust and strengthening relationships. Leveraging influence marketing and encouraging user-generated content on social media can also significantly contribute to enhancing brand credibility and trust, leading to increased brand loyalty and improved overall marketing performance. Thank you.
Sorry to say this, you didn't do the presentation. You were reading the slides. And you know, the important slides were not shown to us, especially the statistics and all. You just skip those slides, and wherever the contents are there, you just read out, right? So actually I don't have much comments since I didn't see the important slides, right? I mean the tables and all. So one common thing that I noticed throughout, not only in your presentation, even the previous presentation, can you go to the sample? There's a slide on sampling, right? If the previous presenters also here, this question is actually related to you all as well. No, not this one. Go to the sample numbers. Yeah, this one. Right? How did you decide that you share the questionnaire among 403? On what basis?
Actually, I distributed the sample for 400 people.
Right.
So from that, I 252 viable replies I obtained. Others were they
no,
have
my
not
question is. No.
Simple sampling method was used.
No. Number. No. Even the previous presenters, now you have distributed among 403, right?
Yeah.
On what basis you decide that?
I went to supermarkets and shopping
No,
malls.
No, Puta. Now, actually the sample size, even for the previous presenters, sample size is actually in this case 252, right? Even that now all I think all presenters, the previous presenters also has the same sentence here. The response rate was in your case 63, even for other people around 60, which was considered adequate. That is actually not a scientific method, right? There are methods to decide the numbers. Now just say for example, there is for example that Morgan table.
And also G-Power sample size calculator is there online, so you can use them.
Yeah, that's right. There are a lot of methods to decide. If you know the population size, methods, right? So that I think that is missing from all presenters. They just put these numbers and just get that response rate and say that is adequate. But that is I don't think that is correct, right? We have to have a scientific method to decide the numbers, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much, distinguished panel of judges, for your valuable comments. Now we, I think, are finished with this series of workshops, and if you have any announcements, you can take it out. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Now I would like to invite Professor Nihan Kodikara from IIT to present the token of appreciation to the session chairperson. Mr. Austin, can we have you in the front as well? Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause. Thank you. Now we will have a short tea break for 15 minutes and try to be back here at least by 4:20. Thank you.